Hey folks, on this week's episode of Player Piano, I have a special guest. Currently in the midst of an NBA training camp, Shake Milton, who is a second year player for the Philadelphia 76ers, took some time with me to sit down and go over a little bit of the human side of being a professional athlete. Shake is a really thoughtful, soft spoken person typically with the media. Having gotten to know him a little bit over the past year or so through his rookie year, it really just seemed like he's the type of player that you really need to have a little bit longer to sit down and get to know. So this is really a great opportunity for us to talk about a few things on and off the court. We go into topics such as how the culture is different in his native Oklahoma, where he grew up, what life was like at SMU, and why he studied sports management. And we did touch on some 76ers topics as well. It wasn't completely non-basketball related. But without further ado, here is Shake Milton from the 76ers practice facility in Camden, New Jersey.
The Painted Lines presents Player Piano. Jason Blevins is joined by inspired experts as he explores the world of sports, literature, science, economics, technology, and entertainment.
Okay, I'm here with Shake Milton. Shake, appreciate you joining us. This is a Player Piano, one of our podcasts where we talk a little bit about sports, but I like to get into other topics outside of just that. You have a really interesting history, especially for someone that's now living on the East Coast, but you're from Owasso,
Yeah.
Owasso?
Owasso, Oklahoma.
Owasso, Oklahoma.
Thank you.
So how's life on the East Coast versus out there at SMU? How's life different, and how is this sort of fan base different from a culture standpoint?
I would say, well, back home is a little more slower paced. Is not as many people, so the community was smaller and everyone kind of knew everyone. As opposed to out here, it's a bigger city and it feels like everybody's always on the go, trying to get things done. So, of course, going to SMU, right in the heart of the city of Dallas, was kind of an adjustment, but it kind of is similar to Philadelphia when, being in the city and everybody being on the go. So it wasn't that bad coming out here, but I would definitely say that it's different than Oklahoma, that's for sure.
Yeah. Now, this team is sort of filled with guys from all over the world. Is this, you've got some guys that fit right into this sort of Philadelphia crazy fandom mindset, and others, does it just seem sort of like wild the way that people take sports so seriously here?
No, I guess you can see that from football in Oklahoma is pretty crazy out there too. So it's kind of like the same thing. It's kind of similar, but you definitely see Philadelphia fans have a passion for their teams, and they really go hard for their city.
Yeah. So one of the things your former coach, college coach Tim Jankovich, said about you, the game is in slow motion to him. Any great guard you ever talk about, that has to be one of their qualities. So your basketball IQ is something that, do you feel like that was natural, or is that something you really developed from an early age through work?
Maybe a little bit of both. I think just the work that I put in when I was younger definitely helps, and playing against older competition when I was younger definitely helped as well. But once you've been through it a certain number of times, the game does eventually just start to slow down for you a little bit, and reads become a little easier. I remember my first time out here last year during training camp, everything seemed to be going so fast, and this year I can definitely tell that things have slowed down a bit, and I'm bit more comfortable in the way I move out there.
Yeah, and physically you're feeling better than a year ago, right?
For sure, definitely. That's maybe one of the biggest things that's been a bonus for me, is just being able to be out there and be healthy, feeling good with the way I move and everything. It makes the game easier.
Yeah. So one of the things late in the season I found out was that the NBA provides its players with meditation apps and sort of that mindfulness sort of off the court thing. Those tools to help rest and recovery. From what I've heard, you take that to heart. You take that pretty seriously. I remember something you said to me maybe during the playoffs, but definitely near the end of the season, about keeping your energy pure. What does that mean to you?
I feel like a lot of times, you can get influenced by things going on, or, if you have maybe a bad day or something like that, or I don't know, whatever's going on in your life, it could kind of feel like it's rushing you a bit and making you speed up and stuff like that. And to me, meditation is just about being able to come back and center yourself and really make sure that everything that's flowing through my mind and through my body is just pure and the most genuine me. So I know that people are getting the most genuine me whenever they interact with me.
So how long ago did you sort of start and discover those tools?
Meditation, honestly, last year, probably before the season started, kind of picked up on it. Somebody had mentioned the app to me, and I just downloaded it and tried it out. And it was a really good app because it basically walks you through the steps. And at first, a lot of people think meditation, it could be boring or it can fall asleep, but it's really just about recognizing your thoughts and letting them be, and kind of just coming together and coming as one. So it's pretty nice for me.
Yeah, good. I think it's one of those areas where people think of it as slowing down in life, but in some ways it sort of speeds up your ability to transition from the intensity of being on the floor to sort of that rest and recovery mode. Would you agree with that?
I would definitely agree with that. It definitely helps me anytime I just am feeling overwhelmed or anything like that, being able to just take a deep breath and kind of just close my eyes for a quick second and regather myself and compose myself, and just being able to handle what's next is key for me.
Yep. I saw a story that you are just being around you. You've got a quiet and you've got a calm demeanor about you. But a story I read about you in high school is your mom sort of has the same demeanor. So is that something? Did you grow up in sort of a calm and peaceful household?
I guess you could say that. My mom did that. My dad was a little more intense and things like that.
Yeah.
Most of my friends probably wouldn't say that I'm so calm or so quiet all the time,
yeah.
But to the outside world, I probably would seem that way. But I definitely take after my mom in that aspect. My mom is a pretty calm person, a very thoughtful and intellectual person, and so I probably get that from her.
Yeah. So one of the moments, I think you and I mentioned this before we started recording, I think we were probably watching the Netflix miniseries When They See Us around the same time, and you sent out a note basically saying it made you think about your little brother. That was an extremely potent series. What did so can you talk a little bit about that flood of emotions and sort of what that brought up for you?
Yeah, I think it's a lot different when you're just reading about it and you're just hearing about it, especially nowadays with social media and stuff like that. Information is coming to you so quickly. You read it, you process it, and then maybe a day or two goes by and you basically forget about it.
Right.
But being able to see it and knowing that, man, it was probably even worse than how they showed it. So just them going through that and being like, man, they were innocent, and having a younger brother and not wanting him to ever have to experience something like that, it really makes you just sit down and think, and it makes me take time and want to make sure that I'm communicating to him the right things that he should do and the way he should act and carry himself. So it was a very, very, very powerful film for sure.
Yeah, I think one of the hard things, and especially as a professional athlete, it's hard to be seen as a human sometimes because people's interaction with you really is on TV, and they are, maybe living and dying with every shot, whether it falls or not. And you look at society, and so many people can be objectified and not sort of forced to recognize each other's humanity. I think that's a really important statement that was really well done in that series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely agree. Yeah, like you said, I mean, I think it can be tough sometimes, especially like you said, fans maybe viewing you as different, or but we're all human beings, so at the end of the day, everybody goes through things, and so you just got to be mindful of that whenever you're interacting with one another, and take that in consideration in your day-to-day life.
Is there anyone in the pro game that you've sort of seen as, that's what I want my career to look like?
I wouldn't be able to just pinpoint one guy. I think for anybody, their goal is to play in the league as long as they can and have longevity. And I think for me, watching certain guys who can do that, and seeing how as they grow older their game changes and they continue to fit the mold for an NBA team, and you look up and they've played 13, 14 years in the league. I think that's my goal, and then winning championships is a huge thing too. Just adding to that and adding to your legacy is big. So I'm always looking at certain guys or veterans on this team and on other teams to kind of steal and take away anything, whether it be on the court or off the court, or how they take care of their body, just anything that can give me an edge and help me out.
Right. You were a sports management major in college.
Yes.
Was that about trying to prepare yourself to be a professional and maybe make good financial decisions, good business decisions as a player, or was that more about having a long-term relationship with professional sports, maybe even after your career?
I think more so the latter. My plan long after I'm done playing this game is to be in the front office and eventually become a GM. So for me, I feel like that was the best path for me to take, to kind of get going that way. And I think being able to be in the league as I continue to network and meet different people, I can only really help myself in that aspect. So I think that's more so where I was kind of heading when I chose sports management as my major.
So when you see Elton, who clearly has a philosophy about how to build a roster, he wants long guys that are good size for position. He's not so much worried about maybe the height, but he definitely wants long arms. You can see pretty clearly how you fit into that mold. Is that the kind of thing that you think is overlooked in today's sports? People think it's just a collection of talent. Do you see sort of what works in this game? It's gone small ball. You guys are sort of going the other direction right now.
I think being able to be in this environment and be in the league is, you definitely can see what guys GMs are looking for in players. And I agree. People a lot of times just think it is a collection of guys who can go out there and put the ball in the basket, but when you really look into it and break it down, it becomes much more in depth about little details of what GMs want out of guys. And I can, from my point of view, I can definitely see how his philosophy, and I can see how other teams make up their philosophy. It makes sense. Everybody has a formula for winning, and you can definitely see how each team is kind of built that way.
Yeah. One last question. It's not on the sheet, so I apologize. I saw throughout the season you and Ben Simmons interact quite a bit in the locker room. Do you think it's talked enough about his basketball IQ, going back to the observations that you've had about your sort of feel for the game? Do you think it's well understood just how smart he is around being able to see the floor in this game?
Oh, not at all. I think it's very underrated. Not only is he just a lot of times people get caught up that he's just a freak of nature, which he is. 6'10", maybe the fastest guy on the floor. And he's very, very strong, but being able to read and know the game the way he does, it definitely makes it easier playing with him, knowing where he wants you to be, how he's always looking to pass, always looking to put you in the right position to score. It makes the game a lot easier, and he's a really talented individual, and I think he's gonna do his part to lead us to where we need to get to be.
Awesome. Thanks, Shake. Really appreciate it. I appreciate the time. I know you're in the middle of camp, so I really appreciate the time, and I'll be talking to you soon.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Appreciate it.
This has been Player Piano, a podcast of exploration. If you like us, please support by subscribing and rating 5 stars. It really does help us. You can follow Player Piano at The Painted Lines on Twitter, or follow Jason Blevins at jblevins_NBA or on Instagram at jb1evins. Be sure to visit thepaintedlines.com for more stories about sports, culture, music and technology.